r/AskReddit by Reddify. What thing or practice disappeared without anybody realizing? Having worked in an office environment since early 2000s, briefcases suddenly started being replaced with backpacks over the past decade in the business world, even in stuffy formal environments. I think it's because of the rise of laptops and other gadgets and less paper being carried around. In the early 2000s I never saw someone use a backpack for business purposes. Now they're ubiquitous. And I can't remember the last time I saw someone carrying around a single-handled briefcase. Though messenger bags aren't completely gone, exchanging of business cards still happens, but not nearly as often. People used to be issued cards in my workplace in the past decade, but now it's something you have to ask for. I still have a big box of 1,000 cards that I got almost 10 years ago. I maybe handed out a dozen or so of them, and don't bother to carry any around. Neckties are slowly and subtly disappearing too in favor of open collars, even when worn with a suit, thank God. Always hated wearing a noose. Non-business, I can't remember the last time I went to a bar that had beer, nuts or other snacks laid out at the bar. Hygiene concerns maybe? I work at a mediation firm, and briefcases are alive and well. But we do have a judge who uses a backpack instead. I feel like ties will come back around. I worked in an office for a while where ties were mandatory. Then they said the guys didn't need them, and our office started bow tie Fridays. Yeah, I work in a law firm that has already got over the tie requirement. Apparently it was a huge row a few years back. Some attorneys still wear them. Some don't. I only do to go to court. Be sure to limit your TV and technology time to 2 hours a day maximum. That it disappeared, and we all simply cannot adhere to that anymore. So true. The level that the internet and media has taken over our lives is frankly insane. I remember all kinds of sass when I was growing up about internet addiction. Don't lose yourself in the web, etc. Now it's totally normal for everybody to just be on their phones on the internet constantly. Thing is, you're all talking about the internet as if it was an abstract being, something ethereal, when it is not. When I'm looking at the phone, I'm checking on friends, uploading pics, talking with people I love, cherish and care for. It's way more social than what we did a few years ago. Spending all our waking hours in front of TV. At least you're socializing in the net. Those X's that let you turn your cursor into a sword. And Smiley Central XD. Smiley Central. Malware Central. Oh yes. Keep injecting me those smileys. It occurred to me recently I haven't seen a banner ad with a game in it saying I can win an iPad in years. You should watch more porn. There's something called an ad blocker. Bringing a pen with you to a bar in case you got a girl's number, or more usually, asking the bartender for a pen and using a napkin to get a number. As a bartender I can say this is still a thing. As a chicken tender, can also confirm. Uncertainty about the Loch Ness Monster. Now everyone has a high-res camera in their pocket. And I've not seen a new photo of it /him/her in years. Same thing with UFO sightings. If they were as common as past experiences would have you believe, there would be thousands of crystal clear photos of them by now. There are tons of cell phone videos of UFOs. Search YouTube. I bet you there are 20 from September 2017. At least in Brazil, there was a number you would call to get a recording with the official time. So you could set your home clocks and your watch. At one point it was even charged per call. I thought it was extinct until now, and probably most younger people never heard of it. But I just googled and realized it's still up, allegedly useful for blind people. The practice effectively disappeared though. I suppose even the blinds who have smartphones have an app or setting on the phone to say the time. Edit. For the visually impaired hearing this, sorry for the blinds. English is not my first language. And I just learned this sounds offensive. Not my intention. Of course. In a small US town the local bank had a time and temp phone line where they would tell you, well, the time and the temperature. We used it to know what to wear to school before we had a thermometer at home. Plain old phones were useful. It is interesting how many of the disappeared things and practices listed so far are a consequence of cell phones. Like chat room fun. Used to be so fun to hang in chat rooms in the early internet icon stuff. Edit. When I was growing up, born in '88. Chat rooms had such a magical feel and I believed anything could happen. I met the first love of my life in a video game called Second Life. In the modern age I struggle to find meaningful connections online. I'm not sure why this is. Especially the quiz rooms, where you felt really smart for guessing the answer eventually, and no one used Google to cheat. Despite being on the internet, Google was too slow to cheat with. The timer would be over by the time you found the answer. Subway $5 footlongs RIP. Edit. Nice. My first comment to break 1K is me ishing about the price of Subway. While that marketing strategy worked very well at the time, I can't help to think it's hurting Subway now. I know I'm not the only one that has it ingrained into my head that the footlong is worth $5 and not $6.7 plus. Due to 6-inch costs $6 now. I love Subway, but it's expensive. Here it's probably the practice of having a chat with the people who pick up your trash and offering them beer or coffee every few weeks. Trash is usually picked up while everyone is at work now. Edit. Since people are messaging me, sure, you can PM me your worries. And now it's only picked up if you take it to the curb and if it is the right beans for today's collection and it isn't overflowing. And when I had my first house, the bin was by the back door and there was an open route running along the whole row of houses. So the binman would pick up every dustbin from the door and bring it right back again empty. They really earned their money. Now they just drive the truck and the robot arm picks the bin up, spills trash everywhere, and then chucks it down the street. Automatic seatbelt. I haven't seen one in years. They phased them out when they found out it was causing more issues than saving more lives. People wouldn't latch their lap belt with the automatic seatbelt, and it ended up choking a lot of people. In the US, the law in the 1980s was you had to have an automatic seatbelt or an airbag. Automatic seatbelts were phased out as car makers developed their airbag systems. Someone pulled up and asked me for directions the other day. I forgot that used to be a thing. I went camping in a remote-ish area about 2 hours away the other week. GPS kept telling me to turn at places that were not intersections and that I'd arrived when I clearly hadn't. I pulled up to a gas station and asked where his road was. The 19-year-old cashier looked bewildered and said she didn't know. An older guy in line said go out here and turn right. About 50 yards ahead on your left is his road. You can only go left on it. Girl goes, oh yeah. The road I needed was right there, and I'm not sure if she didn't realize what I was looking for or didn't know how to tell me. Sometimes at my job people come looking for directions. I usually know how to get there, but I don't know how to tell them because I don't know street names. That may be why the girl wasn't able to help you. Payphones just kind of disappeared with the advent of cell phones. Are you talking about the public urinals? You mean elevators? In the US, asking your neighbor for a cup of milk or sugar, etc. for whatever you are cooking/baking. I haven't done that since 2004. Myself. Not sure if it's just my area or more widespread. I was making sausage a few months back and was out of fennel. My so suggested I ask the neighbor. I thought A, nobody does that anymore, and B, nobody is going to have fennel. Sure enough, the neighbor had it. That's awesome. I'm thinking of my neighbor now, and I'm almost 100% certain she has fennel. But I can't imagine knocking on her door and saying, "Hi, do you have some fennel?" If you are enjoying the video, please give a thumbs up and leave a comment. Memorizing phone numbers, which is fine until you lose your phone and you don't know the number of a single person that can pick you up at the strip club and drive you home. The use of the C/sign. Where did it go? And why is not in my phone's keyboard? Hold $. Hitching. No one hitches lifts anymore. When I was a kid, it happened all the time. We couldn't go 10 miles down the road without my father picking up some random person to see where they needed to go. I feel like this trend died when stories became widely publicized about serial killers either killing hitchhikers or hitching in order to kill people who picked them up. People got scared and cops started cracking down on it. I picked up a hitchhiker once. First thing I said to him was I don't feel like getting stabbed. His reply, I'm too tired for that he got a ride. A/S/L 14/F/Cali F14 Tomcat. Am I doing it right? Letting kids play outside unsupervised until the street lights come on. I'm a sociologist. I'm well versed in crime rates including child abduction and molestation rates. At this point I have more fear of some well-meaning ashat calling children's aid to let them know that my 9-year-old is playing outside than I do of him being abducted. One of our neighbors called child services after my youngest sister leaned on the screen and popped it out. We caught her. NBD. Screen was ducked, and I got grounded for letting her be able to do that. Well, child services comes knocking, and Much finds nothing. During the school visit, they start asking me really specific questions and I realize not only which neighbors called it on us, but they had also had their kids mining us for evidence. Several of the questions could be traced back to conversations I'd had with the oldest son. And me being 8 at the time, half the it I said wasn't squeaky clean and could be interpreted as me maybe getting abused. Big shocker. We were allowed to stay with our parents. Writing to your pen pal. I mean, things like Reddit have replaced the need for that. Right now I'm replying to someone who probably lives tens of thousands of kilometers away from me, and that I have never met, even though they just posted their thought a couple of minutes ago. Whoa man. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can watch together.